Long before Wall Street, before the Federal Reserve, before billionaires were on magazine covers, there was one family who quietly financed kings, ended wars, and built a banking dynasty that spanned continents. This is the legendary true story of the Rothschild family, the secretive banking empire that changed the world without ever firing a bullet. From the ghettos of Frankfurt to the palaces of Europe, discover how one man, Amschel Rothschild, sent his 5 sons across Europe to build a financial network so powerful it shaped the course of history. Wars were won with their gold. Monarchs bent to their will, and rumors of their power became legend. Hi everyone. It's me, and today we are going to do something different. Today we are going to talk about the most famous family in finance. Whether you know it or not, the Rothschilds I have wanted to make this video for a while now, because if there is any group of people who exemplify the intersection between money and power, it is them. In fact, the Rothschilds personify what it means to be financially legendary. They are the reason why kings fell and new ones rose. They are the reason why wars were fought and why peace was made. They are the reason why economies grew and why currencies collapsed. They are the reason why some of the biggest fortunes were made and lost. Basically, if you think that money is interesting, then the Rothschilds are an absolute must-know. So let's start at the beginning with a guy named Amschel Rothschild. He was born in 1744 in a ghetto in Frankfurt, Germany, and he wasn't born into wealth by any stretch of the imagination. But his father was a respected banker, which gave young Maya access to the tools necessary to eventually become rich himself. Those tools were information and relationships. You see, Maya learned the family business, working odd jobs at first and learning everything there was to learn about finance until one day he opened up his own shop. His timing was actually impeccable because the mid-1700s saw the rise of the noble class and they needed someone to manage their money. So Maya spent his days managing the estates of German nobles, buying vineyards and homes and collecting rents. And with each interaction, he built more relationships and gathered more information. And after years of hard work, he saved enough money to hire his first employee, a former apprentice of his. And just like that, his business took off. The number of noble clients kept growing, and so did Maya's need for trustworthy employees. So, in order to continue growing, he had to hire more people and expand his business outside of Frankfurt. Now, you might be wondering where all this is going. Like, what does hiring more employees have to do with building a banking dynasty? Well, it turns out that Maya had 5 sons, 5 boys who he trusted more than anyone else in the world. And when they were old enough, Maya hired each one of them in the family business, giving each of them responsibility over one of the major European capitals: London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, and Frankfurt, with Frankfurt being Maya's home base. This meant that Maya had a trusted representative in every corner of Europe, gathering intelligence on markets and making sure that each client's needs were taken care of no matter where they were in Europe. But this also meant something else, that Maya had basically built a spy network across Europe. You see, back in the day, there was no internet. So if you wanted to get information about what was happening in the world, you had to rely on people. And Maya had the best network in Europe. Now, here's the thing. Maya understood that his true competitive advantage wasn't the information itself, but the speed at which his agents could deliver the information to him. That's why he always told his sons to prioritize speed above all else. If you get information to me faster than my competitors, then I can make better decisions, buy more vineyards and houses, collect more rent, and ultimately grow our business faster. So each of his sons would go on to make their individual marks in Europe, becoming prominent bankers in their own right and gathering information on the nobility they served. And each time they made a big deal, they would send a messenger to Frankfurt with a sealed envelope containing the details of the transaction. And the faster the messenger got to Frankfurt, the faster Maya could act on the information. But you might be thinking, okay, so what exactly makes the Rothschilds legendary? I mean, they seem like good bankers, but what's so amazing about that? Well, you see, Maya's sons were incredibly smart, loyal, and ambitious. But they also had access to the greatest economic engine humanity had ever seen up until that point: war. Now, don't get me wrong, war is never a good thing. People die, cities burn, and economies fall apart. But the Rothschilds recognized an opportunity in financing both sides of a war, and they took it. You see, during times of conflict, countries need money. They need money to house refugees, to rebuild infrastructure, and to pay their armies. And oftentimes they don't have that money. So that's where banks like Maya's come in. Governments would go to banks like Maya's and say, "Hey, we need $1 million. Can you lend us that money?" And Maya would say, "Absolutely. In fact, we're willing to lend you $2 million. But instead of giving the government a simple loan, Maya would secretly lend half of the money to the other side to, now you might be thinking, wait, why would you do that? Wouldn't you just take the money and run away? Well, here's the thing. By lending money to both sides, Maya would profit no matter what happened. If country A wins, then country B has to pay back their loan plus interest. If country B wins, then country A has to pay back their loan plus interest. And in both cases, Maya was able to charge higher interest rates than usual because he was taking on a lot of risk. He didn't know who was going to win. In fact, he didn't even know if either of them were going to be able to pay him back. But once he lent the money, he would sit back and wait. And because his messengers were so fast, he often knew who was winning before anyone else, which allowed him to make even more money betting on who was going to win. So you can imagine how much money the Rothschilds made financing the Napoleonic Wars. France went to them for money. Austria went to them for money, and the British went to them for money. The Rothschilds won too. The Rothschilds won too, and that is how, within just a few decades, the Rothschilds became a legendary banking dynasty. Now, despite the fact that the Rothschilds were legendary, there was a problem. You see, as they became more and more powerful, people started to get scared. I mean, imagine if Facebook had the same power back in the 1800s that they have today. Some people would argue they already do. But anyways, people started to spread rumors about the Rothschilds. Rumors that they were vampires who dipped their bread in blood. Rumors that they controlled the world, and rumors that they created wars just so they could profit from them. And believe it or not, these rumors were the least of their worries. You see, as the Rothschilds amassed more and more power, they started to become a threat to the old guard, the people who had been in power for hundreds of years, and those people weren't going to go down without a fight. In fact, there was one event that really put the Rothschilds on the map, literally. It was the Battle of Waterloo, the final battle in the Napoleonic Wars. And the Rothschilds had a plan to make a ton of money from it. As the battle raged on, Nathan Rothschild, the Rothschild's son in London, got a message from his sister in Brussels saying that Napoleon had won the battle. Now, according to legend, when Nathan heard this, he immediately wrote down the word bull, circled it 7 times, and sent the message to his broker. That one word caused a panic in the market. Everyone thought that Napoleon had actually won, so they started selling their stocks. And Nathan was ready. He bought up as much stock as he could at the lowest prices, knowing that it would bounce back once people realized that Napoleon had actually lost. And just like that, Nathan made a fortune. But it wasn't long before people found out who was behind the trade. And rumors started spreading again, this time accusing the Rothschilds of starting the war, just so they could make money from it. And that is why, to this day, the Rothschilds remain one of the most mysterious families in the world. You might not be familiar with them by name, but I can almost guarantee that you've heard of their bank, the Rothschild Bank. And if you look into it, you'll find that they are everywhere. They're involved in politics, they're involved in finance, and they're involved in pretty much everything. So I'll leave it up to you to decide whether the Rothschilds are heroes or villains. Just remember, it's only a legend if you let it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe for more underrated money stories.